Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So I am a little bit mixed, I have to say, with the 7th episode of What If. I mean, it was really great to have a Thor-centric episode which blends together bits of Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy in there as well, but this episode had so much more potential with a really awesome concept. Like, what if Thor was an only child? But they didn't really do that much with this premise, apart from making him into a really comedic, party-loving character, which sure, had its moments definitely, but for me it just got a little bit tiresome after the first 10 minutes. Now I know the other episodes have been a lot heavier and everyone likes the funnier side of the Thor character, but for me, they just pushed it too far and in turn it didn't work as well as the other episodes did. You know, that being said though, the ending tease with Ultron/Vision having all of the Infinity Stones was pretty awesome and I cannot wait to see where that's going to go. But you know, as far as this episode is concerned, I just feel like it could have been so much better. So in this universe, Odin didn't raise Loki as his own son and instead returned him back to the Frost Giants, and in turn Thor didn't go down the path that we have seen him going down in the MCU. But instead of how they did it with Tony Stark in the previous episode, whereby Tony didn't go on his redemption arc and therefore didn't become the hero of Iron Man, here we have Thor becoming a bit of a party-loving guy who just wants to get drunk all the time and have fun all the time as well. So my thoughts are, in terms of how this actually will have a bigger impact, is that this will also mean that Thor didn't join the Avengers and in turn wasn't able to stop Ultron taking over the planet, which is what we're going to be seeing next week. So actually him not having a brotherly relationship with the Loki character is actually going to have a bigger impact, but come on, they could have done so much more with it. In this episode, I just feel like they know that funny Thor is very popular and they just wanted to dedicate a whole episode to it. Now, whilst I wasn't the biggest fan of Thor Ragnarok either, the reason it did work though is because they balanced all of the hilarious moments with some truly dramatic moments in there as well, which unfortunately this episode didn't really do in the same way until the very end. Of course, they did still explore the romance between Jane Foster and the Thor character, which I thought was really great, and they also did show how much of a brilliant character Kat Dennings Darcy is, and they used both of them actually really well. And also the age-old question of who is stronger, Thor or Captain Marvel, was explored here really well too. Now I don't think they really did answer it though, in terms of who actually is more powerful and who is more stronger. I guess Captain Marvel, but Thor didn't technically lose to her either. And the fact that Thor was scared of his mother and wants to fix all of his drunken mess and make it out that actually he did come to Midgard/Earth for a research project instead of just having a truly great time, I did actually think was pretty humorous. But you know, this episode for me didn't work as well as it could have done from a storyline point of view, and at points it did actually feel like a little bit of a parody/sketch than an all-out epic addition to the MCU. But you know, that being said, I am sure that some people absolutely loved it. So we saw that Chris Hemsworth is returning as the Thor character, and whilst I wasn't a big fan of this episode, I can't deny the fact that actually he was really great in terms of playing this buffoon version of the Thor character who just wants to have fun all the time and wants to be carefree all the time as well. Now he did have some pretty funny lines in this episode, and they did really play on the fact that everyone thinks he's just super good looking, and his interactions with all of the various characters across the galaxy was actually really impressive. Tom Hiddleston is also returning as the Loki character, who we have now seen quite a lot of times across all of the movies, across his own TV series, and the various What If episodes as well. So it's great to see a different interpretation of the Loki character happening again in this episode. Here he is still a frost giant, but he still has a true brotherly relationship with the Thor character, which I did actually think was pretty cool, no pun intended. Again, I do think they could have done a little bit more with it, but you know, that being said, it did still work. I guess you could argue that if he didn't have the jealousy with wanting to get Odin's throne, then he wouldn't have gone down the dark side. So it raises a really interesting question in terms of whether the Loki character is inherently really evil/mischievous, or if it was a product of his surroundings, which would have been a really interesting concept to explore a little bit further. Captain Marvel was really great here too, but instead of being voiced by Brie Larson, here she's being voiced by Alexandra Daniels, who did actually do a really good job, as she was able to capture the essence of this character, and seeing her battling Thor but with a true level head on her shoulders was actually quite funny, as it totally contrasted the Thor character really well, whilst the Captain Marvel character was being the typical hero that you would expect. Like I said before, we still got to see these two titans battling it out, which was really impressive, even though we weren't definitively finding out who is stronger out of the two of them. Natalie Portman returned as the Jane Foster character. Obviously she's going to become an even bigger part in the fourth Thor movie, Thor Love and Thunder, when she is going to be donning the Thor mantle, which I think is going to be absolutely incredible. But you know, over here you do get to see that she is blushing all the time she has a conversation with the Thor character, and is really infatuated with him from the get-go, and even wants to go find his mother to try and save the day in a peaceful way compared to the other characters, which I thought was a really nice touch. Like I said before, Kat Dennings is returning again after catapulting herself to true popularity in the WandaVision TV series, which was really great. I think she's such a funny character, and her scenes with Howard the Duck were surprisingly really funny too. I hope that we do get to see a little bit more from her in live action, as they've got a really great character here that can quite literally fit into all of the different aspects of the MCU really well now. Seeing Thor having a bit of a cameo was absolutely awesome. The Guardians of the Galaxy were here as well, and we even had Karen Gillan returning as the Nebula character, although she didn't have that much to do in this episode. Likewise, we also had Jeff Goldblum returning as the Grand Master, and Taika Waititi returning as Korg as well, but they didn't really do that much here, even though the voice actor did return for them. And it was really great to see Nick Fury, Agent Coulson and Maria Hill here too, whereas instead of Nick Fury and Agent Coulson, who typically are slightly bigger characters, here we have a much greater focus on the Maria Hill character, who was actually pretty ruthless in terms of wanting to truly rid the planet of the Thor character once and for all, even if it did mean that there were going to be some casualties along the way. So overall, whilst I can appreciate this episode from an artistic point of view, overall for me it just didn't really work. I can see what they were trying to do in terms of having something really funny, and like I said, I'm sure there is a certain audience that will absolutely love it, and whilst I can appreciate it for what it is, I do think the other episodes thus far in the What If series just have been miles stronger. But you know, those are all of my thoughts on the 7th episode of What If. Now I'd love to hear from you, so please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye everyone.